Good morning, everybody in Race 2O land. We are live from the Brazos River here in beautiful Waco, Texas, for the Southern Drag Boat Association Duel on the Brazos. Waco, Texas. How are you this morning? We'll work on that. I know it's still early in the morning. Everybody's got to wake up. Everybody's got to have their coffee. We'll come back to you a little bit later for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost that time. It's almost time to go racing here on the Brazos River. So we're going to go ahead and do our opening ceremonies, our prayer and our national anthem. So if you will, please stand and remove your hats as Brother Mike Griffith from Trinity Racing Ministries leads us in our invocation.
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for a glorious morning and the beautiful weather to be able to come out here and do a little drag boat racing. Father, we thank you for the SDBA staff and their hard work and perseverance this morning to get this course back underway and give us the ability to race today. We thank you for the city of Waco and Brazos Park and all they do to pour into this sport and allow us to come in here once a year to this historic water of the Brazos River and get it on. Lord, we just ask this morning that wherever our military is, you watch over them. It's because of them, Lord, that we're able to come out here in a country that's free and do this. And our first responders that answer the call, you be with each and every one of them. Lord, thank you for our sponsors and our vendors that come out here and make this a great event. But, Father, right now it's time to go drag boat racing. And as always, we're looking for those three things. We're looking for that loud day. We're looking for that fast day. But above all, Father, we're looking for that safe day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
And now for the most beautiful song that our country has ever known, the SDBA's own Miss Marcella Hodges.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Miss Marcella Hodges, and it is race time in Waco, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready. We are just a few minutes away from showtime. I need my driver's test and my 2 shakedown runs. I need you to the end ramp, please. Driver's test and our 2 shakedown runs. I need you to the end ramp, please. It's time to go racing the Duel on the Brazos in Waco.
We got 2 boats in the pit that we know that are not teched, and that's Buzzy's boat and Dave Lipinski's. We have tech headed to you to tech you in your pit. If you have not been teched, you need to notify the tower that you need teched, and we'll be teching boats for the next 30 minutes and we'll be done.
So once again, huge thank you to everybody who decided to come out and enjoy this beautiful warm weather here in Waco, Texas with us, the Southern Drag Boat Association. Huge thank you to you, and a huge thank you to some of our partners that made this all possible. A huge thank you to Crossroads Fellowship Church. They are manning our spectator gate for us this weekend, as well as our ramp help and our trash crew, brought to us by Bill Roddy and the Axtell FFA Youth, as well as our security from the Waco Police Department, Sergeant Adam Brewer and his entire crew, the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, Jason Campbell and his staff, the Waco Fire Department, our ambulance brought to us by AMR of Waco, and Pura Vida Paddle Company. They decided to take their business to Waco Lake here this weekend so we could have the Brazos River, and we appreciate them for that. Racers, don't forget, for your waste oil container, it is down toward the out ramp. It's over there located in the grass median. Huge thank you to Safeway Oil Reclamation for coming and doing all that for us, taking care of our oil safely. Trash cleanup. Racers, don't forget, if you have trash in your pits, put it out near the road. The trash crew will be by in just a little bit to pick it all up for you. Our food vendors. Without them, Lord, I don't know what we would do. Norma and Joe Donovan, this will be their final race, their final event with their food truck. They have sold the food truck, and they say, you know what, one more time for the Southern Drag Boat Association, we're going to Waco, Texas. And they are serving breakfast tacos and all of the delicious stuff that Norma and Joe Donovan have been bringing to the Brazos River for the past 15-plus years. Also, the Rowdy Texan, Fat Stacks Concessions, and Shiver Me Shaver Snow Cones. That's going to be an important part of your day here on a beautiful Saturday in Waco. All right, so final call for our driver's test and our 2 shakedown runs. Final call. I need personal watercraft to the ramp, please. Personal watercraft. I need you to the ramp. Stock eliminator, be on standby. Modifieds, be warming them up. Personal watercraft, I need you to the ramp. Stock eliminator, be on standby. Modified eliminator, be getting them warmed up. Hey, if you can hear me up there at the top of the cliff, I can promise you that is not where you want to be. One slip of the flip-flop and you're gone, buddy. So if you can, please get behind the fence. The fence that's up at the top of the cliff, I don't know if you can hear me up there or not. But you definitely want to be behind the fence, please. So once again, racers and race fans alike, our RESP silent auction will be starting at 12 o'clock noon and will be running until about 30 minutes after the last boat goes down the water today. So they'll be set up at the VIP tent. They'll have all of their things that they're going to be auctioning off. It'll be a silent auction, and all of the money will go to the Racers Emergency Support Program. They do an amazing job. But they're, just like Brother Mike said yesterday, they are those people that you never want to have to use them, but you're glad that they're there if you ever do. They are there for one purpose only, and that is to help the drag boat community when in times of struggle and times of tragedy, whenever an accident happens out there on the racetrack, if a driver were to sadly get thrown out of their boat and get wet and they go to the hospital and they need dry clothes, well, that's what RESP is there for. They're there to help in whatever way they can. So RESP does an amazing thing, not only for the SDBA, but for drag boat racing in general all across the country. So all of the benefits for the silent auction will be going to them. Don't forget, Drag Boat Review Magazine is here as well, Miss Beverly Stokes. Miss Beverly and Mr. Tim Stokes from Drag Boat Review, they are set up right here to the right side of the timing tower. Drag Boat Review Magazine covers drag boat racing in all four corners of these great United States of America, not just the SDBA. But if you go down there and grab yourself a subscription to Drag Boat Review, they will send 12 copies a year straight to your mailbox of Drag Boat Review, so you can keep up with everything that's going on from California over here to the mid part of the country or all the way to the East Coast. Drag boat racing all across the country. You can keep up with it. Keep up with your favorite driver that might be over in Bakersfield, California. You're wondering what he's up to. The Drag Boat Review Magazine, most likely they're going to have it to where you can see from there. So I definitely encourage you to go by and get yourself a subscription to Drag Boat Review Magazine. They have T-shirts over there as well. Go see Miss Beverly and Mr. Tim. They will get you hooked up, as well as the star cards for our racers. Racers, if you need star cards, if you're this far into 2021 and still haven't gotten your star cards, or your hero cards as they're also called, Miss Beverly and Mr. Tim can give you all of the package information that you need to get your star cards. I can promise you, especially when we go to Chandler, Arizona later on, I do believe that's going to be a huge race. And you're definitely going to want to have your star cards for that. So we do apologize. We were running a little bit behind schedule, but when we got here, Mother Nature told us, you know what, we're going to make it a little bit harder than it has to be on you. So the water rose here in the Brazos River last night for whatever reason, so we had to replace one sensor that got knocked over last night, as well as clean the racing surface. And you're saying, how in the world do you clean water? Well, there were sticks, there were logs, and all kinds of things out there. And I can guarantee you somebody driving a top alcohol hydro does not want to hit a log at 200-plus miles an hour. So we had to go out there and do a little bit of cleaning. Had to set our hold ropes up at the in-ramp and the out-ramp. So we are almost ready to go here in Waco, Texas. Final call for personal watercraft. Final call personal watercraft to the in-ramp. Stock eliminator, I need you to the ramp. Stock eliminator, I need you to the ramp, please. Modified eliminator, be on standby. Unlimited outboard, get them warmed up. Well, you should already be warmed up, because you can't warm up in your pits. So stock eliminator, I need you to the in-ramp, please. Stock eliminator to the in-ramp. Modified, be on standby. Unlimited outboard, be on standby as well. Top eliminator, be getting them warmed up. All right, so we are getting boats pulled to the hold rope now. It is almost that time to kick off the 2021 Duel on the Brazos here in Waco, Texas. Some of the most legendary water that boats have ever been down. So many great memories from here in Waco over the years. Especially 2 years ago, this is my very first drag boat race I ever went to. They stuck me on the microphone, and I've been hooked ever since and loved every minute of it. So our first shakedown runner, our first boat to go down the water today, driving a boat they call Amazing Grace, it's going to be Gus Hagler. Sponsored by Senseless Racing, Haas Props, special thanks to Tim Bostic. Gase is the other boat God built. I love that. This boat's been an amazing, has been amazing. Origin. Like to hear the story of Grace come by the Amazing Grace pit. And the crew members will share the story. More than happy to do that. So Gus Hagler be the first boat down. It is unlimited outboard boat. A little bit of a new combination, some new hardware on that hot rod, so they are going to send it down the racetrack and see what happens. They will not get a time slip since it is just a shakedown run. But at least they get to see how all of the new parts and pieces react. And get a good sense of what's going to happen when we go to qualifying round number 1 here in just a little bit in unlimited outboard. So we got a couple of drivers' test runs, some shakedown runs, and then we have a competitor going for a license in Pro Eliminator. All right, so Gus not going to be able to make the run. This is going to be Kate Janicek, the boat they call All or Nothing, making a shakedown run. They took the Ford motor out. They had busted a piston up in San Angelo. They put a Chevrolet motor down on that thing, so we're going to see how it reacts. 2019 Rookie of the Year for JP&E, Kirkland Marine, DVR, RFC, David Kirkland Racing. Just shaking the bugs out of the thing. Nice and close. And now coming up in the Ahern Reynolds left-hand side of the racetrack, driving Manufactured Money, it's Pat Hobbs at Daytona. 632 cubic inch nitrous-fed power plant. Stuck behind Pat Hobbs' head for Hobbs Motorsports, Hobbs Manufactured Homes, C&D Mechanical, Huffman Performance, and Morgan & Son Racing Engines. That'd be Shannon and Bud Morgan. Out of just up the road to Mansfield, Texas. And here we go. Pat Hobbs Manufactured Money. Oh, and the boat shuts off at the hold rope. All right, so Pat Hobbs, it looks like they might have got the deal going again. So we're going to try it one more time. The nitrous-assisted 632 cubic inch Pro-Jet boat of Pat Hobbs. They call it Manufactured Money. So Pat Hobbs just making just I don't know, something about it just didn't sound right. It didn't sound like the nitrous ever come on or something. They'll go back and look it over and try again when Q1 of Pro-Jet comes up. It's nice to see Pat Hobbs back out here in the Southern Track Boat Association, though. Took a couple of races off. I believe Paris might have been his last race, so he took San Angelo off. And I do believe that'll take us into personal watercraft. It's time to bring up the children. And then we got one lady who likes to be called Grandma. She's the oldest in the category, Miss Lynn Blackburn. I said that I wasn't going to. I said I wasn't going to call her Grandma because I just didn't know. And then I got told, you know what? She actually takes it with stride. She actually is proud of that. And the kids treat her just like their grandma, just as sweet as you would. So now for personal watercraft, this will be the first qualifying session in personal watercraft. You are dialing your jet ski, and the closest to the dial gets the number one qualifier. And Jody Smith, it just seems like Jody has been taking all of Andy Reynolds' green number one qualifier hats here this year. She's currently sitting number one in the points, making it to two final rounds with one win on the season with all those qualifying points. He's got her sitting pretty nice right now. So our first pair of personal watercraft in qualifying at session number 1, the Ahern Reynolds left-hand side of the racetrack. The ski they call Being Bad. That's Angelique Shaw. Huge thank you to Mom and Dad, the Bad Company race team, Grandma Morrison, the Shearwoods, Dinah Notes, and Luke's Paving. Coming up in the Fun and Sun boats and tackle, right-hand side of the racetrack is Leighton Pippinger. Driving the ski they call Nitro Reaper for David Carroll Racing. Leighton coming to us is out of Blanco, Texas. Or Blanco, I'm not exactly sure how you're supposed to. Is it Blanco? Special thanks to Grandma and Granddad WCR, David Carroll Racing, Electro Freeza, Texas, and Buffalo Land Management. The countdown clock hits 10 seconds. First pair of personal watercraft qualifying session number 1 in Waco. So as they hit the 1,000-foot, Leighton was down in at 14:35. He goes 16:59 at 43 miles an hour on the right-hand side of the racetrack, and Angelique Shaw was down at 13:10. Goes 13:61 with a 5 at 53 miles an hour. Had to put Angelique in the number 1 spot, Leighton in the number 2 spot, the first pair down. Spectators, please be mindful of your other fellow spectators. Please do not block anybody's view. Everybody wants to see the same racing that you want to see, so please be mindful and respectful of other people and their views of the racetrack, race surface. Yeah, everybody wants to have a good time, and that's what we're going to do. Oh, and I missed it. How about Angelique Shaw's 005 reaction time, too, first hit? That's awesome. Once again, modified eliminator needs to the end ramp, please. Modified eliminator needs to the end ramp. Modified to the end ramp, please. And now the Ahern Reynolds left-hand side of the racetrack, Lynn Blackburn. They call her Grandma. The kids call her Grandma. I don't call her Grandma. This kid they call Doing Time, too. For Docks and Boats Rescue, Medina Lake, Bandera Family Dentistry, and Jody Smith driving Lil Maniac over in the Fun and Sun Boats and Tackle right-hand side of the track out of Wiley, Texas. Special thanks to Randy Ball, WCR Construction, Trinity Racing Ministries, RESP, her mom, Stacy, Papa Maniac Mike, and the Southern Drag Boat Association, the best association ever, she says. She's out in 13:30. Lynn Blackburn out in 10:30. Jody Smith turned at 056 red, goes 13:40 with a 3 at 52 miles an hour in the 13:30. He'll put her in the number 2 qualifying spot for now. Lynn Blackburn goes to number 1, 10:38 on the 10:30 at 67 miles an hour for the number 1 qualifying spot after 2 pair of personal watercraft in Q1. Lynn was at 456 on the tree. First hit out, everybody trying to find their spot on the tree. And it changes depending on what body of water you're at, depending on where you leave on the numbers on the tree, depending on water current and all that kind of good stuff. So they usually take the first qualifying session to kind of push it a little bit and find out what works and what doesn't. Angelique Shaw hit it just right, 005, her first hit out, which is very, very impressive. And now the Ahern Reynolds left-hand side of the racetrack driving a little Okie. It'll be Jake Stevenson, man who has come in third place in the points 2 years in a row. And right now I do believe he might be second in the points, so he's doing a little bit better than he has the past few years. And Chloe Janisek driving the Reaper over in the Fun and Sun boat and tackle right-hand side of the track for David Carroll Racing. Special thanks to David Carroll and the Southern Drag Boat Association. Chloe coming out of Wiley, Texas. She is dialed 1650. Jake Stevenson dialed 1310. Jake Stevenson turned at 106 red on the 1310. He goes 1326 at 52 miles an hour. Put him in the number 3 spot. Chloe Janisek, 514 on the green side of the tree. 1650. She goes 1666 with a 6 at 42 miles an hour for the number 4 spot. Modified Eliminator, this is your final call. Modified, your final call. I need unlimited outboard to the ramp, please. Unlimited outboard to the ramp. Top Eliminator be on standby. Pro Eliminator be warming them up. I need an unlimited outboard to the ramp, please. And now the Fun and Sun boat and tackles right-hand side, driving it not flat black. That's Henry Rogers. Driving for Steve Pruitt. Sponsors include Hold My Beer and Watch This. That boat will be coming up a little bit later. Swan Pipeline Services, Big Dog Consultant Services, and Swan Transportation. And Jacob Noller will be in the Ahern Reynolds left-hand side, driving a long time coming. For Mom and Dad, Anna and Opa. Chris Clay, Gary Payne, Mike Sorensen, Carl Nichols. Special thanks to Mike Griffith with Trinity Racing Ministries, RASP, and Rob Birkland. 1270 the dial for Jacob Noller, 1156 the dial for Henry Rogers, and it doesn't look like Henry's going anywhere. Jacob Noller, how about an 033 reaction time? He goes 1286 on the 1270 for the number 7 qualifying spot as it sits right now. So Henry Rogers having some issues. Out there on the racetrack, the rescue boat going to see what the deal is. So we need Henry Rogers' trailer back to the in-ramp, please. Ski number 476. We need your trailer back to the in-ramp, please. Henry Rogers' trailer back to the in-ramp. Once again, I need unlimited outboard. I need you to the in-ramp, please. Top Eliminator be on standby. Pro Eliminator, get them warmed up. Unlimited outboard to the ramp. One huge and special thank you to everybody watching at RacerH2O.com or on the YouTube channel, on the Facebook page, RacerH2O. Thank you for coming to be able to bring Southern Drag Boat Association racing straight into your living room. We appreciate all you guys do for us. You're sitting back at home in your air conditioner and your Parker Lounger drinking RC Cola and eating a bag of Cheetos. I wish I was you. That's all I'm going to say. No, I'm having a blast out here at the Southern Drag Boat Association. Nothing better. We wish that you were out here as well. And if you're anywhere within 1,000 miles of Waco, Texas, you're going to want to get here because tomorrow is going to be absolutely killer. And now our next personal watercraft up, the Fun and Sun boat and tackle. Right-hand side of the track is going to be Colton Byler. That ski they call Stretch. Colton is a Life Scout and a part of the Pottsboro FFA for Byler Jet Skis, Edna and Todd Byler. He is out in 12:10. Remember, in personal watercraft, qualifying goes based on how close you can get to your dial. And right now, that is Lynn Blackburn sitting in the number 1 spot. So Colton only 12.10. He goes 13.99 with a 5 at 52 miles an hour. Not exactly what they were looking for. Not at all what they were looking for. That'll put Colton Byler in the number 7 qualifying spot for now. And our first pair of stock eliminator boats, J.D. Henderson, driver number 4, will be in the Ahern Reynolds left-hand side of the racetrack. Special thanks to Daniel and Superior Fiberglass, Chopper Hopper Saloon, to Kill Porter. I don't know what that's about. Special thanks to Kevin Helm, Josh Stark, Todd Swartz, Lori Stark, Jeff Crumley, Pirate Mafia, and Scotty B, and Rodney Blackstock driving plumb crazy. Will be in the Fun and Sun boat and tackle right-hand side of the racetrack for Al and Dottie Kirshner. 960 the dial for Rodney Blackstock, 1019 the dial for J.D. Henderson. I do believe I heard Rodney Blackstock whenever he was going down the track give her a couple of little slaps. He goes 965 with a 0 on the 960 dial at 69 miles an hour for Rodney Blackstock. Put him in the number 1 qualifying spot for now with an 084 reaction time. J.D. Henderson will go to the number 2 spot after the first pair, 266 light on 1019. He goes 1030 with a 9 at 72 miles an hour for J.D. Rodney Blackstock, though. 0.05 of a second off the dial, put him number 1 for now. I need top eliminator. Top eliminator, I need you the in-ramp, please. Top eliminator, I need you the in-ramp. Pro eliminator, be on standby. Quick eliminator, get them warmed up. Top eliminator, I need you the in-ramp, please. All right, here we go. Megan Warren, Capital Punishment. Being the left side, and Ashley Winslet, Fast Line Fabrications. Special thanks to Mom, Dad, Brian, and Chantel, RESP, and Trinity Racing Ministries. 9 flat the dial for both. Ashley Winslet turned at 033 red. She goes to 829 with a 3 at 89 miles an hour on the 9 flat. .829 with a 3. Oh, the crew says they're going to go put some concrete in the back of that thing. Megan Warren was 222 red. Goes 927 with a 9 on the 9 flat, dial in at 80 miles an hour. That'll put Ashley Winslet in the number 4 spot and Megan Warren in the number 3 spot. Once again, I need top eliminator. Top eliminator, I need you the in-ramp, please. Top eliminator, the in-ramp. Pro eliminator, be on standby. Quick eliminator, get them warmed up. Justin Vaughn. Gallo de Cielo. I don't know if I said that right, but I gave it my best shot. Sorry, Mike Starr, if you're listening. You know how to say it and I don't. For RPM Motorsports, Justin will be down to 1190. The Ahern Reynolds left side. Fun and Sun Boat and Tackles right-hand side. Zachary Watson and Chicks Dig It. David Carroll Racing, T-shirts, and more. Alfredo's Mexican Restaurant. TNT Construction. Special thanks to Rhonda, Walter, Do It Again, Dunlin. 10 flat the dial for Zachary. 1190 the dial for Justin Vaughn. Justin Vaughn, 1162 with a 5 on the 1190 at 71 miles an hour. We put him in the number 5 spot for now. Zachary Watson turned it 213 red. On the 10 flat, he goes 11-16 with a 5 at 65 miles an hour for the number 4 spot. So it either seems like you either go fast or you're way above the index. You're either way under or way above the index so far here in Stock Eliminator. Unless you're Rodney Blackstock, and then you go just 500ths off. I mean, Rodney Blackstock currently sitting in the number 1 spot in Stock Eliminator. That boat they call Plum Crazy. That was an awesome pass by him. First pair down the water in Stock Eliminator. All right, so what I believe might be our final pair of Stock Eliminator. The Ahern Reynolds left-hand side is the boat they call Yellow Jacket, driven by J.T. Mooney out of Marion, Texas. No, not J.B. Mooney, J.T. Mooney. Tony Hendrick Racing, Charlie Soul Classics for J.T. Fun and Sun Boat and Tackle, right-hand side is Rodney West Jr. The boat they call It's Only Money, too. Look at Rodney West bouncing the boat all the way down the lake. Well, JT was out in at 9:10. He goes 9:41 at 78 miles an hour for the number 4 spot. Rodney West was down 9:50. He goes 9:88 with a 0 at 79 miles an hour for the number 5 spot in qualifying now. Stock Eliminator qualifying goes just like personal watercraft. You dial in your hot rod, and the closest to the dial in gets the number 1 spot, and so on and so forth. And I do believe we have at least one more pair of Stock Eliminator. It's hard to tell from all the way down here, you know, who's on the hold rope. So here comes Seth Walls driving Soderly Tober over to Fun and Sun Boat and Tackle, right-hand side of the racetrack. For Fast Line Fabrications, Walls Tractor Repair, FPC Services, James and Judy Sheffield, Wayman Pittsford Incorporated, Schaefer Oils, Palmetto Whiskey, Buddy E.S. Johnson, William Pichelle and Sons, Fine Woodworking, Extreme Barbecue, Joey Alborough, Cookers for Christ, the Steve Michelle, Jason Shanna, Tag, Bruce Sella, Shane, and Joe. Looking for a 9 flat. He goes 9:11 with a 3 at 85 miles an hour for the number 2 spot. Not going to knock Rodney West Jr. off the number 1 spot, but Seth Walls goes to number 2. The 3:41 reaction time. Going to put Seth in the number 2 spot after the first qualifying session here in Stock Eliminator. Once again, top eliminator, you should be at the end ramp. Top, you should be at the end ramp. Blackie Bame driving Blackie's Magic. Aaron Reynolds, left-hand side of the track out of Rio Medina, Texas for Snyder Motorsports. Mick, Glenda and the boys, Oscar and Jacinda Galindo, Rodney and Pam Piper, Marley Ranch, Dave and Jana Wilson, Lily Construction, Bob and Marley Winder. All above, his wife, Linda Bame, and Garrick Snyder, the young gun, being the right-hand side of the track. Blackie turned at 168 red on the 1030 dial. He goes 1058 at 70 miles an hour for the number 6 spot. Garrick Snyder turned at 186 red right behind his uncle Blackie. And he goes at 1062 on the 1050 for the number 4 spot. As it sits right now, David Carroll, we need you to the timing tower, please. David Carroll to the timing tower. David Carroll, we need you to the timing tower, please. So it looks like Garrick Snyder is down in the shutdown area. So we'll have to go and retrieve him. It'll be just a second before we send the next pair. Well, one more cycle. So what I do believe is our final stock eliminator boat on the hold rope is Cade Janicek driving All or Nothing, the 2019 Rookie of the Year. JP&E, Kirkland Marine, DBR, RFC, David Kirkland Racing. Special thanks to Phil Kirkland for loaning us a motor. So what happened to San Angelo? Cade Janicek picked up his first stock eliminator win of the Southern Drag Boat Association, San Angelo, Texas, our last race on tour. And in the final round, it absolutely destroyed a piston. I mean, demolished. The piston came out in pieces. So what they had to do was they had to find another motor. Because you know what? Just like I warned them, it's not easy to find Ford parts and pieces for Ford motors. It's just not. So what do they do? They did the right thing. They put a Chevrolet motor down in the boat. And now they're looking to wake it up. Cade Janicek down in at 9 flat. Brand new boat. They did not make the run that they wanted to on their shakedown pass. But they had to make sure that it would at least go down the lake or go down the water, and it did. However, it was definitely not as fast as they would want it to be. They got a good team back there. Cade's dad, Jay Janicek, sister Chloe, racing in personal watercraft. And their crew member, David, he's a pretty good guy too, I guess. They know exactly what they're doing. Here in Stock Eliminator, as the countdown clock starts now. 30 seconds to countdown. The countdown clock runs out. Numbers will pop up on the starting barge. Cade will pick his number and go. Current number 1 qualifier right now in Stock Eliminator is Ronnie Blackstock at 965. Cade Janicek, they're looking for 9 flat. And Cade tried to stand that thing up all the way. And it had to get off the throttle. He goes 973 with an 8 at 77.67 miles an hour. But you saw it whenever it left the starting line. That thing tried to stand straight up. Cade got off the throttle, set the front end back down, and he got back in it, run it out the back door, trying. Do the best he could. That'll put him in the number 9 spot for now. Hey, for you guys up there on the ridge, we need the kid to get off the pillar, please. Behind the fence. Everybody needs to stay behind the fence. Because I can promise you, falling from there down to here ain't going to feel good at all. All right, so our first pair of modified eliminator up on the hold rope now. The Ahern Reynolds, left-hand side of the track. The boat they call In Too Deep, that's Andrew Decker out of Buckholz, Texas. For GNC Machinery, special thanks to Robert Moore, Gary Lindsay, Jill Decker, Danny and Christine Springer of Springer Farms. Looking Pretty Decals, Denise Wyatt, Christian Decker, CMT Mobile Services, and Easy Tire. Andrew will be over in the left side, and Josh Hansen will be over in the Fun and Sun Boats and Tackle, right-hand side of the racetrack. My favorite boat name ever, that boat called Stimulus Check. I love it. That is a 565 cubic inch Huffman Performance big block Chevrolet in a Cheyenne boat for B&D Waterland. Your modified eliminator event winner in Bryan, Texas. This is his first season in modified eliminator. He is Josh Hansen, and I can promise you, if anybody wants to pick a fight with me, I'm going over to Josh Hansen and grabbing him. That is one big old dude. I would not mess with Josh Hansen if I had a sledgehammer. But Josh been doing a fantastic job driving all year long in his first season. Modified eliminator is our 8-flat index category that has been dominated over the past few years by Jesse James and that Outlaw team. They're looking for their fourth SDBA championship in a row. In 2018, they won the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series Modified Eliminator World Championship and the Southern Drag Boat Association Modified Eliminator Championship in the same year. And then proceeded to win 2 more back-to-back in the SDBA. Now they're going for 4 in a row in the SDBA. They said, you know what? Winning 2 championships back-to-back was tough. Winning 3 was even tougher. And Randy Neal told me yesterday, winning 4 in a row seems nearly impossible. But we're up for the challenge. So we're going to wait just a few minutes, as you can see, as they pull that boat to the hold rope, that boat rocking back and forth through water. We are waiting on the water, the wind to die down. When that wind picks up like that, and especially when it's going down the racetrack, it's not pretty. It can get ugly really quick. So once again, we are on hold for just a few minutes, see if the wind dies down. Hopefully it does. I mean, yeah, it feels great whenever you're sitting out here in it, especially when it's as hot as it can get here in Waco, but these boats don't like to run down water that is too rough. They don't like it to be smooth as glass, but they don't like it to be as rough as it is right now, so we're on hold for just a few minutes. So one of the things that happens in drag boat racing, you just got to wait it out. So that's what we're going to do. But in the meantime, while we are waiting, be sure to go back and see our food vendors. Some of the best food in the entire state of Texas right here in Waco this year. They're just right back here up the hill behind the timing tower. Be sure to go by and see them, as well as get yourself a snow cone. Stay cool. We'll be just a few minutes before we're back to racing. Hey, Cole Payne, turn that speaker around for me, please. Hey, everybody up there on the cliff, I'm just letting you know the city of Waco has said nobody is allowed to be up there on that cliff, and the park rangers are on their way to remove you. So if I were you, I would remove myself before they got there. We would be more than happy for you to come over here to the other side of the Brazos River and come enjoy the drag boat racing over here with us. But the city of Waco has said nobody is to be up on that cliff. We do not need another incident like happened a few years ago, and I definitely don't want to see it myself. So if you could remove yourself from the cliff, please. All right, Cole Payne, you can turn the speaker back around now. Thank you, buddy. So once again, for everybody watching on Racer H2O, we do apologize for the bit of delay, but it is a little bit windy here, and the wind is coming straight down the Brazos River right now, so we are waiting until it calms down just a little bit because we cannot run boats on water that is this choppy and this rough. So we're going to give it just a few minutes. Hopefully the wind dies down, and we'll be back to racing here shortly. So grab yourself another RC Cola. You got plenty of time. And for our spectators that are here in Waco, thank you 110 times for being here with us this weekend. It's a beautiful day. A little bit warm, but you know what? That's to expect, right? It is July in Waco, Texas. So, well, we are having a great time. While we're under this delay, if you're hungry, if your belly button's gnawing on your backbone and you want something to eat, go right over there. We got plenty of food vendors here. Norma and Joe Donovan, this is their final time with their food truck. They have sold the food truck, said, you know what, one more time. I believe they've been coming here for at least the past 15 years to Waco and been providing food for all you spectators and us racers and staff alike. So huge thank you to Norma and Joe Donovan. This is their final time, final race, final stop in the food truck. So we're so happy that they're here. The Rowdy Texan, all kinds of great stuff. Loaded fries, loaded tater tots, burgers, all kinds of good stuff for the Rowdy Texan. Fat Stacks concessions as well. Shiver Me Shavers snow cones. Oh, God, I can't think of anything that I would like more right now than a good old snow cone. So if you're hungry, please go by and see those guys and gals. They will get you fixed up. As you can see, the flag on our rescue boat, it is blowing straight down the river. But it's starting to die down a little bit, so that's a good sign. We just hope that it stays this way and hope Mother Nature cooperates a little bit. Well, we'll be back racing just as soon as possible. All right, so we are good. We are going yellow. Andrew Decker in too deep. The Ahern Reynolds left-hand side of the racetrack. The band out of Buckholz, Texas. And the Fun and Sun boat and tackle, I apologize. Right-hand lane, Josh Hansen and Stimulus Check. 8 flat the index. Let's do it. Oh, 61 light for Andrew Decker. He goes 7.88 with a 6 at 94 miles an hour. Josh Hansen missed it by just that much. 7.89 with a 9 at 97 miles an hour. So it's fast out there. It's just a little choppy. But I think it'll be all right. Andrew Decker, the number 2 qualifier, and Josh Hansen, your number 1 qualifier. Now in qualifying here for our index categories, if you go under the index or faster than the index, you go all the way down to the bottom of the sheet. But since they were the first pair down, number 1 qualifier right now, Josh Hansen. Number 2, Andrew Decker. Our next pair, driving the slippery pickle over the Ahern Reynolds left-hand side of the racetrack is Tyler Boehm out of Rio Medina, Texas. For BBC Farm and Ranch, Long's Machine Shop, Texas Car Barn, Rio Truck and Auto, Custom Powder Coating. Thanks to the crew, the Stephanie, Yvonne, BJ, Trinket, Shay, Max, Kevin, Tim, Cheryl, the best Toho and Tony. Special thanks to Mom and Dad and God for all the many blessings for Tyler. And over in the Fun and Sun boat and tackle, right-hand side of the racetrack, driving Little Bud, it's Melton Whittlesey. Driving for Infamous Brewing, our 8 flat modified eliminator category. Countdown clock now at 10 seconds. Couple of nice passes. Melton goes 7.96 with a 2 at 104 miles an hour. Here we go to the number 1 qualifying spot, being closer to the index than Josh Hansen was. And Tyler turned it 0.50 red. He goes 7.89.5 at 100.35 miles an hour for the number 3 spot. So far, everybody too fast here in Modified Eliminator, which it's a lot easier to slow one down than it is to speed one up. Next pair, the Ahern Reynolds left side of the racetrack, driving 6 to Midnight's Gavin Snyder, the nephew of Blackie Boehm, the oldest brother of Garrick and Grant Snyder, who also drive drag boats and are out here in competition this weekend for Rio Medina Trucking and Auto, Rio Fab and Welding, Lily Construction, Custom Powder Coating, 4-Way Bar, Damon Decker, and 212 Athletics. Special thanks to Uncle Jimbo and Aunt Sue for the motor and transmission, Jeff Gibson Insurance, Racers Insuring Racers, Guild Mortgage, Reagan and Angie Everett, Rowdy Tees, and RNS Construction. And Bill Miles will be over in the Fun and Sun boats and tackle, right side of the racetrack, driving Crazy Cracker, the 5-time KDBA champion and 4-time Lucas Oil champion. Jim and Judy Miles, St. John's Boat and Motor, Anton's HGT and Cooling. Bill Miles, 331. He goes at 798 with a 9 at 101 miles an hour for the number 1 qualifying spot. Gavin Snyder, 103 on the tree, goes 798 with a 2 at 108.85 miles an hour for the number 2 spot. As it sits right now, is 7th thou. Bill Miles gets the number 1 qualifying spot from Gavin Snyder. That boat they call 6 to Midnight's been doing a fantastic job his first year of driving here in the Southern Drag Boat Association. As we now move into our next pair, the Fun and Sun boats and tackle. Right-hand side is the Outlaw, Jesse James Jr. out of Tyler, Texas. For David and Carrie Muller, Lone Star Millwork, Big Mike and Ona, Just for Christmas Decor, and Eagle Motorsports, the 4-time Modified Eliminator High Points champion, and George Olson will be over the Ahern Reynolds left side of the racetrack. The boat they call Here We Go Again out of Galveston, Texas for Olson Piling, SWAT Speed and Marine, or in Machine, Affordable Engines, and Harry's Machine. Yeah, Jesse James Jr. 048, and he goes 8-11 with a 2 at 94 miles an hour for the number 1 qualifying spot. George Olson 064, he breaks it out 782 with a 3 at 97.78 miles an hour. But Jesse James, I asked Randy Neal last night what he thought the boat was going to run. He did not say it was going to run at 8:11, but that will put him in the number 1 qualifying spot because everybody else going too quick on the index. All right, listen over the pits. I need Pro Eliminator. Pro Eliminator, I need you to the end ramp, please. Pro Eliminator, I need you to the end ramp. Quick Eliminator, be on standby. Pro Jet, get them warmed up. Pro Eliminator, I need you to the end ramp. Quick Eliminator on standby. Pro Jet, warm them up. Pro Eliminator, to the ramp, please. All right, here we go. Greg Conley driving Thunder and Lightning to be over in the Ahern Reynolds left side of the racetrack for Cars Restoration, RK Rancho Industries, and Pumps by Chop. And Austin Fugate will be over in the Fun and Sun Boat and Tackle right-hand side of the racetrack, driving Biggest Crush out of Fort Worth, Texas for Tony Hendrick Racing Engines, Electro Freeze of Texas, Two Guys Marine and Fugate Construction, and Epic Boat. So here we go. Modified Eliminator 8 flat, the index. How about Austin Fugate 8 flat with a 1, 99 miles an hour. Austin Fugate, your number 1 qualifier by a bunch. Greg Conley goes 9:46 with a 7 at 85 miles an hour. Not at all what they were looking for. But Austin Fugate 8 flat with a 1 at 99 miles an hour for the number 1 spot. All right, here we go. Borrowed Miller time. Mike King will be over the Ahern Reynolds left side of the racetrack out of Coweta, Oklahoma. And Ronnie Jennings driving Ludicrous will be over the Fun and Sun Boat and Tackle right side of the racetrack out of Macon, Missouri. 8 flat, the index. Here we go. $7.99 with a 7 at 86 miles an hour for Ronnie Jennings. Mike King, $8.69 with a 5 at 89 miles an hour. Austin Fugate just laid the gauntlet down. You got 1,000th of a second to take over the number 1 qualifying spot in Modified Eliminator, and you got 2 more rounds to do it. I don't know. That's going to be tough. 0.65 on the reaction timer for Ronnie Jennings. Mike King goes 1.271 on the reaction timer. Tim Bostic and Jason Gothard. Gothard driving a happy hour over in the Fun and Sun Boat and Tackle right side out of San Angelo, Texas. For Fast Line Fabrications, FPC Services, James Judy Sheffield. Walls Tractor Repair Incorporated, Buddy E.S. Johnson, Extreme Barbecue. Wayman Pittsford Incorporated, Joe Yalborough and Palmetto Distillery. And Tim Bostic driving Anomaly over in the Ahern Reynolds left side of the racetrack for Hoss Prop, Senseless Racing. Engine and setup done by Senseless Racing. It's been 29 years since the last race in Augusta, Georgia in 1992 for Tim Bostic. Jason Gothard, 8.07 with a 3 at 94 miles an hour for the number 2 qualifying spot. Tim Bostic, 7.21 with a 3 at 100 106 miles an hour. And Tim Bostic in the unlimited outboard trim, 721 with a 3 and 106 miles an hour for the number 1 spot in unlimited outboard, mixing it up with the modified eliminator boats. Jason Gothard only turned it 020 red. So that's pretty close, 200ths of a second away from being perfect. Hey, all the guys that are up there on top of that ledge, you guys got to go. The city of Waco said nobody can be up there on top of the, what do you call that, a rock mountain, cliff, whatever you, well, I guess it's a cliff. I don't know. I live in Louisiana. We got swamps, so whatever you call them here in Texas. But whatever you want to call it, you guys need to get off of there. The city of Waco said no bueno, not this weekend. If not, the park rangers will be on their way. Sorry, not my rules. I just have to follow them. Next pair up, Jerry Branham, and back in black will be in the Ahern Reynolds left side of the racetrack out of Tyler, Texas. And in the Fun and Sun boat and tackle right-hand side, driving Bad Magic will be Mr. George Goff as we go into our first pair of top eliminator. Mr. George coming to us out of Choteau, Oklahoma for Electro Freeze of Texas, Tulsa Sheet Metal. The crew of Marsha, Todd, Trevin, and Rayleigh. Special thanks to Electro Freeze Express crew, GW and Taryn Groff, Flat Wicked crew, Fool's Paradise crew, Bruce and Bobby Wicker, and Broken Arrow powder coating. 7 flat in the index for top eliminator. Yeah, Mr. George Goff never ceases to amaze. 039 on the tree. He goes 704 with a 0 at 105 miles an hour for the number 1 spot after the first pair. Jerry Branham 040 on the tree. 720 with a 5. 107.99 miles an hour. That'll put him in the number 2 spot after the first pair of top eliminator boats. Once again, I need Pro Eliminator. Pro Eliminator, I need you to the in-ramp, please. Pro Eliminator to the in-ramp. Next pair of top eliminator, Bob Winder driving Mama's Diamond to be in the Ahern Reynolds left side out of Lake Hills, Texas. And Dawson Dickerson, Dad's Pocketbook, the name of the boat, over in the Fun and Sun boat and tackle right-hand side of the track for Harry's Machine, Affordable Engine, Olson Pilings, SWAT Speed and Marine. Dawson been a number 1 qualifier here in top eliminator already in 2021. Gonna try to do it again. To do so, he needs to go better than 704 with a 0, but no quicker than 7.00. Dawson Dickerson, 704 with a 0. The same thing George Goff ran, but he ran it with a 7 to the 10,000ths of a second to George Goff. Dawson goes 704 with a 0 and a 9 for the number 2 spot. So literally by, what is that, 2 10,000ths of a second, George Goff remains the number 1 qualifier. Bob Winder goes 689 with a 7 at 109 miles an hour. For the number 4 spot, he goes to the bottom of the list, breaking it out into the 6-second zone to the 1,000 feet. Next pair of top eliminator. The boat they call Drastic Change will be over in the Ahern Reynolds left side of the racetrack. Driving it to be Drake Mosier. And over here in the Fun and Sun boat and tackle, right-hand side would be Christopher Mosier. The boat they call Mama Tried. 7 flat, the index. Final call for Pro Eliminator. Final call, Pro Eliminator. I need Top Eliminator. I apologize. I need Quick Eliminator. Quick Eliminator needs you to the ramp, please. Quick Eliminator to the ramp. Christopher Mosier, 695, 6 at 119 miles an hour. Drake Mosier, 687 with a 4 at 112 miles an hour. Both of them breaking out. Drake goes to 6th. Christopher goes to 4th in qualifying. So far, we've still got some boats to come in Top Eliminator. Don't forget, non-denominational chapel service tomorrow at the VIP tent at 8 o'clock in the morning. Thank you to Trinity Racing Ministries for bringing it to us. Non-denominational chapel service tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock in the morning at the VIP tent, which is right here to the left of the timing tower. Be there, 8 o'clock sharp for chapel. Racers, race fans alike, everybody's welcome to attend chapel service in the morning. Once again, I need Quick Eliminator. Quick Eliminator, I need you to the in-ramp, please. Quick Eliminator to the in-ramp. Pro Jet, be on standby. Pro Comp Flats, be warming them up. Quick Eliminator to the ramp. Pro Jet, be on standby. Pro Comp Flats, be warming them up. And Top Fuel Hydro. For only the second time in a long time, Top Fuel Hydro. We need you to the ramp. Top Fuel Hydro to the ramp. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are just a few short moments away. It's going to be a little bit longer than a few short minutes, but we aren't that far away from 11,000 horsepower. Top Fuel Hydro, better than 230 miles an hour, blasting down the Brazos River here in Waco, Texas. As Nitro Nuts and Mike Robbins, from what I've been told, are on their way to the in-ramp. All right, next pair, Top Eliminator. The Ahern Reynolds left side of the racetrack. Bobby Thurman driving a boat they call Crap Shooter. For Sambo's Logging, Thurman's at Heating and Air. A 600 cubic inch Ford power plant. Need a whole lot of cubic inches if you're going to drive a Ford. That's all I'm going to say. Fun and Sun, bait, boats and tackle. I don't know why I keep saying bait. It's dark on my screen, so it's hard to read. Brady Kimbrough driving Pure Sin out of Houston, Texas, will be coming up on the right side of the racetrack, otherwise known as the near lane. The far lane will be Bobby Thurman and Crap Shooter. And Bobby Thurman turned at 015 red, but he goes 709 with a 4 at 112 miles an hour for the number 3 spot. Brady Kimbrough had issues. He goes 013 red, but goes 772 with a 0 at 82 miles an hour for the number 5 qualifying spot. Not what they wanted. A lot slower than what they wanted, guaranteed. But they get a little bit of data. There's something to work with come qualifying session number 2. All right, so bear with us while we get some more boats put on the hold rope. With, our little break that we had to take for the wind, we got a little bit behind on getting boats to the hold rope, which is understandable. So it's going to take us a second to get the next two there and ready to go down the water. The liquid 1,000-foot Brazos River. Huge thank you to everybody for coming out. Seriously, we very much appreciate it. You guys have no idea how awesome it is to be back in Waco. We had to miss out coming to Waco last year in 2020 due to COVID-19, and we missed it. So we are very excited to be back in 2021 and for many, many years to come. And just like I mentioned a while ago, Nitro Nuts, Mike Robbins and that entire team out of North Carolina are on their way to the in-ramp if they're not already there. We will be splashing a Top Fuel Hydro into the in-ramp in just a few minutes. All right, so final call for quick eliminator. Final call, quick eliminator. I need Pro Jet. Pro Jet, I need you to the in-ramp, please. Pro Jet, I need you to the in-ramp. Pro Jet to the ramp. Pro Comp Flats, be on standby. Pro Outlaw, get them warmed up. Pro Jet to the ramp. Pro Comp Flats on standby. Pro Outlaw, be getting them warmed up. And remember, another special thing that's going to be happening whenever Nitro Nuts and Mike Robbins gets up here. We lost Big John Ridgway here just about a month or so ago. He will be going on a 230-plus mile-per-hour pass in a Top Fuel Hydro with Mike Robbins. Very, very special deal. Something that Big John always wanted to do, but he said, you know what, I'm too big to get in a capsule, so it doesn't look like it's ever going to happen. Well, now it's going to happen. As our next pair of Top Eliminator come up, or one Top Eliminator and one Pro Eliminator boat, Matt Miller driving Miller Time for Miller Excavation and Huffman Performance and Smoke on the Water drag boat races that are happening next weekend in El Reno, Oklahoma, by the way. If you don't have anything to do next weekend, you want to take a little road trip, Smoke on the Water drag boat races is an outlaw-style race in El Reno, Oklahoma. Be there. I'm telling you. We just got word today via Facebook that Farm Truck, you know the Street Outlaws Farm Truck Asian? Yeah, they have that boat now that looks like a truck. They're going to be there, so you definitely want to be there as well. And driving his Pro Eliminator boat in the Fun and Sun Boat and Tackle right-hand side of the racetrack or near lane is it strictly business. I wanted to say business. That's how we say it in Louisiana. Strictly business. And Greg Collier out of Orange Grove, Texas. 521 cubic inches of Chevrolet power. And a Daytona boat for Greg Collier. He'll be in the near lane. Matt Miller and Miller Time be over on the left side. The fire hydrant, as I like to call Matt Miller. That's going to be a story I will never forget. Matt Miller, the fire hydrant. That was brilliant. And Matt Miller has a boat named Miller Time, but he drinks Dos Equis beer. That makes him the most interesting man in the world. Oh. All right, so as soon as they get ready and they give Gary Gray the signal, we'll fire him up and send him down the racetrack. All right, so they were given the signal, fire up. Let's go. Matt Miller looking for 7.00 seconds on the index. Greg Collier looking for 6:50 on his index. Matt Miller goes 7:23 with a 4 at 106 miles an hour. He was 2:01 red. Greg Collier 0.67. He goes 6:74 with a 4 at 115.64 miles an hour on that 650 index in Pro Eliminator. He'll be your number one qualifier. As it sits right now, Matt Miller will go to 5th in Top Eliminator. All right, so there are 3 boats in Pro Eliminator, so that was our single. Here comes our pair of boats in Pro Eliminator. Brent Riley, Painting Me Crazy. Being the Ahern Reynolds left-hand side of the racetrack out of Corpus Christi, Texas for DNR Sales Company, CCR Fiberglass. And a special thanks to Dustin. And over in the Fun and Sun Boats and Tackle, right side of the racetrack, driving hot shot, be Mr. Dave Lipinski out of Madera, California. Special thanks to Jerry Feisler for everything he does. Auto Machine Specialties of Fresno and Hands-On Hydroponics. 650 the index here in Pro Eliminator. Countdown clock started. Let's do it. Dave Lipinski, how about it? 6:52 with a 5. 115 miles an hour for the man out of California. That'll put him in the number one qualifying spot in Pro Eliminator. Brent Riley, 7:13 with a 1. 109.10 miles an hour to put him number 3. Greg Collier sitting second. Dave Lipinski, number 1. Brent Riley, number 3. Our three boats in Pro Eliminator. And now our next class to come up will be Quick Eliminator. Pro Jet, you should be at the end ramp. Pro Jet, you should be at the end ramp. Pro Jet at the end ramp. Procom Flats on standby. Pro Outlaw, get them warmed up. All right, so Quick Eliminator, our 6 flat open boat index category. Our first pair coming up now, Rebellious Winch and Bill Miller, driving for Philip Kirkland out of Garland, Texas. Will be in the Ahern Reynolds left-hand side. Philip out of Garland, Bill coming to us out of Taylor, Texas. And a Fun and Sun Boat and Tackle, right side of the racetrack, driving Mutual Funds. That's Robert Anderson out of Huffman, Texas. For Huffman Performance, Jeff Gibson Insurance. Taz Construction, Miller Excavation, B&D Waterland, Nitrous Outlet, Go Lithium Batteries, and Pat Hobbs Manufactured Homes. All right, so as soon as they give the thumbs up to our starter, Gary Gray, we'll fire him up. Our fastest open boat category at the SDBA. Quick Eliminator, it's a fun class. And we have, how many boats? 9 boats in Quick Eliminator, I believe, this weekend, which is a very strong boat count in Quick Eliminator. So I just got word that Nitro Nuts and Mike Robbins is at the end ramp, about to be put in and go to the hold rope. So 11,000 horsepower, almost ready to turn loose here on the Brazos River. Hey, everybody up there on top of the cliff, we need you behind the fence. You're not even supposed to be at the fence. The city of Waco, Texas said no bueno this weekend. So we need everybody. You're more than welcome to come across the river. Come sit over here with us. I mean, it's closer anyway. You know, I mean, you're about to see a top fuel hydro. You're not really going to be able to tell anything from up there. So come on down over here. We got all the fun stuff to do over here anyway. We got shade. Ha ha! How about that? All right, so rescue is out there checking out the water. It's kind of picked up. The wind's picked up just a little bit. So we want to make sure, especially, we do not want to send Mike Robbins at 240 miles an hour down the water if the water is not suitable for him. And he has some huge obligations on this run. Having Big John Ridgway riding along with him. Yeah. Big John will reach up there and tap him in the back of the head and let him know exactly what he's doing wrong and right. So this was the most inopportune time for Mother Nature to decide to blow on us again. So we are waiting on the wind to die down just a little bit. We can't put nitro nuts into the water yet because if the wind picks up too much, it will actually sink the boat. Since the boat is so low to the water, if the waves get too bad out there, it'll actually sink a top fuel hydro. So we're not putting Mike into the water just yet. We are watching the water. As you can tell, there are some white caps out there in between the green and the yellow buoys. So we are just waiting on Mother Nature to step aside and let us have our drag boat racing back. So bear with us just a few minutes. We hate it just as much as y'all do, I can promise you. Because I'm just as excited as anybody to see Mike Robbins make a pass down the racetrack. So, well, we're just going to have to hang tight for just a second. All right, listen up. We need a member of the Waco Police Department to meet Gary Payne at the spectator gate, please. A member of the Waco Police Department, we need you to meet Gary Payne at the spectator gate, please. All right, so rescue says water looks good to me. Let's do it. Bill Miller and Robert Anderson. Bill will be over on the left side. Rebellious Winch, the name of that boat. Robert Anderson and Mutual Funds. He'll be in the near lane or in the right side of the racetrack. This is Quick Eliminator, our 6.00 index category. And Bill Miller, 6 flat with a 9. 130 for Bill Miller. That thing wasn't rebellious this time. He goes to the number 1 qualifying spot. Robert Anderson, 635-1. 103 miles an hour for the number 2 spot after the first pair. But Bill Miller, 6 flat with a 9. 132 miles an hour. And that thing, it was moving all over the racetrack down there toward the 1,000-foot mark. But it worked. Next pair, Quick Eliminator. Hold my beer and watch this. It's Steve Pruitt over in the Ahern Reynolds left side of the racetrack out of Midland, Texas. Dedicated to all the veterans and fighting forces who answer the call. Dave and Jana Wilson, Lilly Construction, West Star Autoplex, Lido Properties LLC. Special thanks to the Wildman, Wayman Pitchford. Two-time world champion and two-time driver of the year, Steve Pruitt. And Tommy the Lunchbox Rice, the Electro Free Special, will be over in the Fun and Sun Boat and Tackle, right side of the racetrack, driving for David Carroll, the Electro Freeze of Texas. Tommy Rice, 581 with a 5 at 147 miles an hour for Tommy Rice. Oops. Number 4 qualifier, way too fast under the index. Steve Pruitt, 609 with a 0 at 140 miles an hour. Put him in the number 2 spot, knocking Robert Anderson down to 3rd. Tommy Rice comes in at 4th as it sits right now. Tommy, 077 reaction time. Nice job on that. Probably just wanted to run it out the back door and see how much he had to slow that thing down. But 581 at 147 miles an hour, he's got to slow it down pretty good bit. All right, next pair, Ray Mills driving Blue Thunder out of Choctaw, Oklahoma. The Ahern Reynolds left side of the racetrack. Driving for the loading zone, Booger Reds, Ghost Rider Saloon, Country Club, Dr. Feelgoods. Special thanks to Mama Cheryl and the crew and the Henson Racing Engines, and Tyler Salzman driving the Wild Thing. Building the Fun and Sun at Boats and Tackle, right-hand side of the racetrack for Salzman Farms, Salzman Auto. Special thanks to Mom and Dad. And Tyler Salzman boat was charging out the back door, 607, 143 miles an hour for the number 2 qualifying spot. Ray Mills, 644, with a 3 at 110 miles an hour. Put him 5th best in qualifying right now, as it sits here after the first session of qualifying in a Quick Eliminator. Next pair up, Ken Jenkins through the fire. Driving for Causeway Marina. He'll be in the Ahern Reynolds left side of the racetrack. If you want any stickers commemorating Barry Helms, please go see Ken Jenkins at their pit at your convenience. Jeff Miller, driving Sunday driver out of Auburn, Kentucky, will be in the Fun and Sun boat and tackle right-hand side of the racetrack. 6 flat, the index. Let's do it. Double breakout, 598 with a 9, 144 miles an hour for Jeff Miller. He was 076 on the reaction timer. Ken Jenkins was 092. He goes 597.6, 144 miles an hour. That'll put Jeff in the number 6 spot, Ken in the number 7 spot right now. With only one more quick eliminator boat to go, I do believe. And then after that, it'll be time for Mike Robbins in Nitro Nuts. Here comes Sambo Smith and Sucker Punch. The Fun and Sun boat and tackle right-hand side of the racetrack for Brazos Feed and Supply. Special thanks to Gary Payne, Tony Scarlotta, GNC Machine, Russell Body Shop, and Thurman Heating and Air. Sambo, our final quick eliminator boat. And Sambo was 057 on the tree. He goes 611 with a 5, 132.88 miles an hour to put himself in the number 4 spot. So Bill Miller will be your number 1 qualifier after the first session with a 6 flat and a 9. And then it'll be Tyler Salzman, Steve Pruitt, Sambo Smith, Robert Anderson, Ray Mills, Jeff Miller, and Ken Jenkins rounding out the top 8 in qualifying after the first session. All right, so from what I've been told, the next boat in the water is Mike Robbins of that Top Fuel Hydro. He's got a special passenger alongside with him on this pass right here. Big John Ridgway was a fixture in drag boat racing for many, many years and a huge part of the Travis Tuttle Cody Childress racing team. We lost him just a little while back. Wasn't very long. It seems like it's been forever ago that we've seen John out here at the drag boat races, and he's going to get to take a ride with Mike Robbins in Nitro Nuts going better than 230 miles an hour, which is something that Big John always wanted to do but never got the chance to. Well, now, Big John, here's your chance. You're about to go for a ride in a Top Fuel Hydro. We miss you every day, Big John. We hope you're enjoying yourself up there. So it's going to take us a second to get Mike Robbins and that Nitro Nuts boat into the water. But I can promise you, you don't want to go anywhere. It has been at least 3 years since the Top Fuel Hydro has been down the Brazos River. And now, lucky for you, you get to see history made here at the Southern Drag Boat Association. We're hoping that a lot of other Top Fuel Hydro racers will see how awesome it is to be racing here at the SDBA and Top Fuel Hydro, and they'll come out and want to race with us too. That's the goal. So we'll see. So in order for those guys to say, you know what, I want to go race at the SDBA, Waco, I'm going to need you to make as much noise as you possibly can when Mike Robbins goes down the racetrack. because they'll see it over the live stream and they'll say, you know what? Those guys are excited and they want me to be there, so I'm going to go race with them. And if you want to see more than just one Top Fuel Hydro in 2022 here in Waco, when he goes down the racetrack, I'm going to need you to make a whole lot of noise. As you can see, they are at the end ramp. They have now splashed him. They'll just have to pull him to the hold rope. All right, I need Pro Comp Flats, Pro Comp Flat Bottoms. I need you to the end ramp, please. Pro Comp Flats, I need you to the end ramp, please. Pro Comp Flats, I need you to the end ramp. Pro Outlaw, be on standby. Pro Modified, get them warmed up. Pro Comp Flats to the end ramp, please. Once again, I need Pro-Com flats, Pro-Com flat bottoms. I need you to the end ramp, please. Pro-Com flat bottoms. I need you to the end ramp. Pro Outlaw, be on standby. Pro Modified, get them warmed up. Right, so it's taking a little bit longer than usual, and I'll tell you why. Since the wind is blowing straight downstream, the Top Fuel hydros, there's literally inches, just inches between them and the water getting into the back of the boat and sinking it. So therefore, they can't put him on the hold rope just yet until the wind dies down just a little bit more so it doesn't blow the water up into the back of the boat and sink it. So what we're having to do is we're having to hold Mike up there until we're able to turn him, put him on the hold rope, and go yellow. All right, so we were given the thumbs up. I don't know if the thumbs up is going to stick or not, but I can tell you that Mike Robbins is coming up in the Fun and Sun Boat and Tackle right-hand side of the racetrack, the boat they call Nitro Nuts, because they are the only ones that are nuts enough to do it. Out of Youngsville, North Carolina, sponsored by Cowboy Bob, Integrated Metalworks, RWR Motorsports, Ken Hughes with Mac Tools, Coletta Motorsports, Victory Valves, Woodham's Equipment, Winberg Crankshafts, Garnson Contractors, Jarco Supply, J&D Disposals, Minkins Racing Props, 9A Ranch Bucking Bulls, JP Sport Fishing Tours, David Kirkland, Robert Mills, Randy Ball, David Carroll. Special thanks to the crew: Roger Way, Dave Calput, Terry Watkins, Ken Hughes, James Kaserick, Steve True, and Doe Chevrolet. The current record right now to 875 feet in the Southern Drag Boat Association and Top Fuel Hydro, 27 with a 4, and the speed record is 240.97 miles an hour to the Blue Buoys. That's the 875 feet mark. That's where he'll click it off. Like I said, he's got a very special passenger alongside him, Big John Ridgway. We'll be riding with Mike Robbins and Nitro Nuts. We lost him just a couple of months ago, and his one dream wants to make a pass in the Top Fuel Hydro, and that dream is coming true. And we hope that you're going to enjoy every second of it, Big John. So as soon as we get a thumbs up from Mike Robbins, we unhook him from the jet ski. We'll fire up 11,000 horsepower here in Waco, Texas. All right, countdown clock has started. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Top Fuel Hydro. "15 seconds left on the countdown clock. "5 seconds left on the clock. How about the pass? 327, 223.97 miles an hour, Waco. Make some noise. How awesome was that? I guarantee you Big John was kicking that thing in the rear end saying, "Get down that racetrack, boy." That was awesome. Mike Robbins' first pass of the weekend, he goes 327, 223 miles an hour, and I promise you, that thing was skating all over the racetrack. Oh, and that lovely smell of burnt nitro. Gotta love it. And now the next class to get splashed is going to be ProJet, our 8th mile per hour base category. Open boats covering the 8th mile in about 3.5 seconds, a little bit slower than 3.5 seconds. Better than 140 miles an hour. All right, once again, Pro-Comp Flats, Pro-Comp Flat Bottoms, I need you to the end ramp, please. Frank Carter, I'm looking at you. Pro-Comp Flats, I need you to the end ramp, please. So in ProJet, you're allowed to go 145.99 miles an hour, but not a thousandth of a mile per hour quicker. If you go 146, you got one slap on the wrist. If you do it again, you're out. The first two. It's going to be Nathan Haynes Driving Nonsense in the Ahern Reynolds left side of the racetrack out of Huffman, Texas. For Huffman Performance, SDPC Race Shop, the Scoggin-Dickey Performance Center, Race Shop, RJ Trailer Sales, B&D Waterland, and Miller Excavation. And over in the Fun and Sun Boats and Tackle, right-hand side of the racetrack, the boat they call Aces Wild, that is Dustin Nessaloni. Dustin out of Orange Grove, Texas. Dustin's driven a whole bunch of different things. He was a driver in the NHRA Pro Modified category for a little while until an unfortunate accident happened in Gainesville, Florida last year. Or no, that was earlier this year. First race of the season. Drove a little bit last year. Driven all kinds. Dustin also a former Pro Modified driver in drag boat racing as well. We'll see them coming up here in just a little bit. 560 index boats to the 1,000 foot. But here we go with Projet.